Welcome back to Winners and Losers Transfer Edition, looking at the biggest movers and shakers over the last 7 days. Chris Hamill is in the hot seat. The first submission was by Guna JHH. They say Real Madrid.
Yeah, pretty obvious, isn't it? Florentino Perez just going around dropping mics everywhere. They've got their business done super early and are subsequently our first winners, completing Luka Jovic and Eden Hazard, the big one, in the last week. And I've got to say, if Chelsea get 135 million euros for a player with 1 year left on the contract, they've done exceedingly well, despite the fact he is the only player sort of maintaining their Champions League status
100%.
at the moment, isn't he? But still, seems like it's good for both parties at this point. Luka Jovic costing 52.4 million, so congratulations to Frankfurt on turning over a profit. And apparently he's been paid £8.7 million a year, so big up yourself for that pay packet, Luka. Real Madrid will hope he can hit the ground running as well, won't they? Because their lack of goals last season really cost them, finishing third on 68 points.
Grim reading.
That is ugly. Scoring just 63 in La Liga, their lowest tally since 1999-2000. Jovic, like we said, could help fix that problem, should help fix that problem. 27 goals in all competitions last season, and you'd imagine that those numbers are going to go through the roof given the service he will get. Karim Benzema, of course, getting 30, which, you know, represented a renaissance somewhat. And with the help of Eden Hazard in particular, both these players, the aforementioned players, should be getting around that number once more, shouldn't they? So he joins for an initial 89 million, does Eden, potentially rising to 135 to 150, depending on what paper you're reading. Now he's scored 110 in his 352 goals at Chelsea.
Crazy.
Sounds useful. Terrific final season at the Bridge as well, directly involved in 31 Premier League goals, the most of any player in the competition. They are buying Real Madrid, the Premier League's best player, once again, aren't they? Forget Paul Pogba for 150. Eden Hazard is the man, and I stick by my viewpoint that he's a significantly better signing at this point in time for Real Madrid than Leroy Sané. It's where I disagree with Patrick Van Straan. Let us know what you think in the comments below. He will, though, need to improve his form against Spanish sides, Joe.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, he's probably not played, you know, Getafe and Eibar both had very good seasons. Don't know why they spring to mind first. Very often, has he? But he's yet to score in 8 appearances against them. 16 assists last campaign. The highest in the Madrid team was 6, and that was Benzema and Modric. And it's not just, you know, in attack that they're killing it, are they? They're mopping up at the back.
Well, they could be mopping up at the back if they do manage to get the deal for Ferland Mendy over the line. Of course, the Lyon left back. Now, Mendy had a phenomenal season, much hyped by us here at Football Daily. 30 League One appearances last season, more tackles, more dribbles than Marcelo, who might well feel that his place is somewhat under threat. Obviously, they still have Theo Hernandez to come back. Hakimi's got 1 year left on that loan deal at Borussia Dortmund, and now they're being linked to Ferland Mendy, so clearly looking for a long-term replacement for the Brazilian. Christian Eriksen continues to be extremely heavily linked. Of course, last week gave those quotes in the Danish camp saying that he quite fancies a move away from Tottenham Hotspur, and Real Madrid would be a nice destination. Involved in 27 goals in all competitions last season for Tottenham Hotspur. That's 12 more than Modric. But what I will say is, when we were hyping that move on Sunday Vibes, there was quite a few Tottenham fans in the comments saying, you know, he's not had a great season, Eriksen. He's not been particularly good. He's actually regressed a lot since the last couple of campaigns, and I don't think they would be that bothered as long as they could bring in one of James or Isco in return.
I mean, that's a massive if.
Big if.
James Rodriguez would be absolutely outstanding. Like I said on Sunday Vibes, probably one of the few windows in which it's actually realistic for a club like Spurs, who aren't of the elite band, to land a player of his magnitude. However, imagine if they don't get a significant midfield replacement given their current midfielders. Yes, Lo Celso can come in, but is he going to put up double digits for goals and assists? Maybe one or the other, but Christian Eriksen remains probably the most well-rounded player at Spurs. They're going to need to bring in an Ndombele and a Lo Celso. And if that happens, then they're going to finish third.
Well, I'm sure Pochettino will be hoping that Real Madrid go for their other midfield target. Zidane's favoured man, it seems. Paul Pogba, you mentioned him earlier. £150 million price tag around his neck, though. So whether or not Real Madrid can afford him remains to be seen, having already spent over £200 million this summer. I personally think they probably can afford him. They've saved up. The piggy bank is full over the last few seasons.
Crack
and
it
what
open.
a signing he would be. It would be great for the player, great for Madrid. Man United, I'm sure, will be massively disappointed. I don't want to lose him, but I kind of feel like he deserves a move away.
Yeah.
He's better than the current state of Man United.
I think Juve are going to do a madness. I think Juve are going to stump up the cash just like they did for Ronaldo and just say, come on home, Paul. And then Ramsey's going to be on the bench again.
I just can't see them spending that money on Chiesa and Pogba.
Yeah.
Like, I think if they
Allow
do spend
Chiesa.
80 million euros on Chiesa, I don't think they'll go for Pogba. And if they do go for Pogba, it probably signals, to me anyway, the end of Paulo Dybala's.
Yeah, I think if they go for Chiesa, it should probably signal the end of Paulo Dybala because they've already got Bernardeschi. It's all getting very confusing.
Either way, it's been an absolutely hot week to be a Real Madrid fan, hasn't it? If they do get Ferland Mendy over the line and one of Pogba or Eriksen,
I mean,
this could be one of the most remarkable summers of all time.
Let's have it right. The levels of the tweets that we got today. So, Real Madrid winners, losers, Jack Wilshere going to Sheffield United. So they're the bookends we're working with, people.
Congratulations, Los Blancos, though.
And Sheffield. Our first loser comes from Joker_Oliver, and it's Antoine Griezmann, who is seemingly wanted by no one.
Yes, out in the rain, old Tony Griezmann. Don't know what he's going to do. Obviously, £106 million release clause, and informed pretty much everybody in the world, didn't he, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that he was going to leave Atletico Madrid. But it seems like he shot his bolt too early, because Barcelona were the biggest club that was linked with him. They now seem to have pulled back from the deal somewhat after supposedly some of the senior players went to the board and said, oh, we don't want this move to happen. There was also a poll in Sport, the Catalan newspaper, wasn't there, that 67% of the 500,000 voters said that they didn't want Griezmann at the club.
He didn't ingratiate himself with anyone last year, did he, with the whole La Decision, and it's come back to bite him in the arse big time this year. And basically, when, you know, Sport say, the players approached Josep Bartomeu. It's messy, isn't it? Suarez has been in his ear. He said, don't let this happen, Lionel, please, we're friends. And Messi's gone, all right, you've got one more season to win me the Champions League, then you're gone.
But I do always feel like when they say, oh, the players said this, I can never picture Messi going to the board going, nah, I don't want Griezmann.
Messi, he calls the shots behind the scenes 100%. Can you imagine Sergio Roberto saying, listen, don't know about Griezmann, his shot numbers aren't that great, don't be deceived by his, you know, his set-piece goals.
Potentially, and I know Patrick doesn't like this move whatsoever, claiming he's never played on the right, despite the fact he definitely did at Sociedad. And I personally feel like he would still be a good addition to Barcelona going forward. Maybe they'd have to overpay for him, but you know, he's contributed 30% of Atleti's league goals. If they lose him, they're in absolute catastrophe areas. We're going to talk about Atletico in a little bit.
It's 106 mil, isn't it? That's his buyout.
106 million pounds, and the other players that are linked to the club, if they're not to get a Griezmann, you look at the likes of Richarlison. I think Everton are going to want upwards of 70 million for him, given that they spent £50 million in him last season.
They've got the Andre Gomez chip though as well, haven't they?
They have got the Andre Gomez chip, but I feel like that's going to be a separate deal because West Ham are also in for him, which could be quite interesting. They're also being linked with Rodrigo from Valencia. I think that would be a mediocre at best move in the same way that Richarlison would be. Griezmann is a massive upgrade on both of those players, and I understand that they would probably be understudies to Luis Suarez, whereas Griezmann would demand a starting position. But I would definitely go 106 on Griezmann rather than 75 on Richarlison. It seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair shout. I mean, Rodrigo adds a bit of speed, doesn't he, which Barcelona don't have along that forward line at the moment. Richarlison, very similar to Luis Suarez, tenacious, does all his best work inside the box.
I don't think he's a natural goal scorer, though.
Yeah, and he got 12 in the Premier League this season, but outside of the top six, that's semi-impressive. I think that could be an interesting move. Of course, the sporting director is Eric Abidal. Do you remember when you interviewed him way back when? One of our first trips away.
Very
now
nice.
he's sporting director, the Joseph Tomlinson effect. Anyway, Griezmann, meanwhile, has apparently met PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi, who sees the forward. What an attempt at that name. Khalifa? Anyway, who sees the forward as an Edison Cavani replacement. Now, Thomas Tuchel has apparently said he's willing to let the Uruguayan go because he doesn't quite fit into his philosophy of high pressing, high intensity football, whereas forwards have to be super mobile. I mean, he didn't start as many games, did he, Edison Cavani, this season? Only 20 under his belt, which is his fewest in his last 3 campaigns. Couple of injury issues. Of course, he remains their top goal scorer on 193 goals in 6 seasons. Only just turned 32 in February as well, so definitely life in the old dog yet. He's got a couple years left at the top, but apparently that might be at Atletico Madrid.
That would be a fun move.
And I really like this move. I think we were talking about this the same time last year, how it would be quite a savvy move for Atleti to go in for someone like Cavani, just to keep them ticking over in the absence of a young goal getter. This is, of course, when we thought Griezmann was departing once more. But yeah, it feels smart. It feels like he would get them between 15 and 20 league goals. His numbers, his underlying numbers, are still very strong. So 1.9 shots inside the box per 90. That's better than Morata. That's, of course, better than Diego Costa, who got 4 goal contributions.
Tragic,
in
though.
14 starts.
He's got to be one of the worst signings of all time.
I mean, his body is just turning to dust, isn't it?
He left half of it in Brazil when he went and just took a year off.
When he lived in like a cave.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he was doing. I'm not sure, that. I don't think he was living in a cave. But yeah, I think those numbers are better than Antoine Griezmann as well. He's taking 1.6 shots inside the box. Of course, he's kind of a second striker, isn't he? So you'd expect that. But still, I think 23 goal contributions as well in 20 starts, which is, yes, it's Ligue 1, but I think with a player like Cavani, he could definitely translate that sort of form. He got 34 goal contributions in 17-18. For me, I think Atletico win there. Barcelona probably win if they get the league over Griezmann. If they spend that money on the centre-half instead. And Griezmann kind of just has to settle with PSG, but PSG getting their hands on another Galactico-style player when he was seemingly, destined for elsewhere.
Yeah,
Bit of a weird one.
I would just be a little bit nervous about how much they're going to have to pay for Cavani. Like, I kind of like the signing, but I like the signing cheap.
Yeah, I feel like you can get good value out of PSG. Similar, Real Betis got Lo Celso for 20 odd, didn't they? I think Draxler will probably depart for a moderate fee this campaign. Like when a player's out of favour at PSG, they don't really care about recuperating a massive amount, do they?
That's true. That is true.
Their
Yeah,
fee.
Cavani to Atletico. We're going to come on to Atletico in a little bit as well. So they're having an interesting summer. Let's put it that way.
Overhaul.com.
Moving on then to Manchester United, who are actually in our winners after being linked to a right back for once. This was sent in by Leon James Hamill.
Yeah, and it's well-trodden ground, isn't it? Because it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka who, every given opportunity, we've touted for a top club on Sunday Vibes on the Extra Time podcast, which of course went live yesterday. So go and check that bad boy out. First one in 3 weeks. But yeah, United have had a busy week, if not slightly underwhelming for the fans. Now they've secured £18 million man Daniel James from Swansea City. I see no reason to be cynical about this signing. Promising, young, English talent, which is the profile that Solskjaer has been talking up, hasn't he, for the last 2 or 3 months. I think the downside is very small, and he is, one of football's purest men after that video surfaced where he just went all bleary-eyed over a dog.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. Moving on though, Sky Sports are reporting that the bid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which was rejected by Crystal Palace, was over £40 million. When they say over, I imagine that means 40 up front with some add-ons, but Palace are looking for around 65 up front. Now this is also supported by The Telegraph, who state that the club will take a hard-line stance due to the fact they have him tied down to a long-term contract that runs out in 2022. And you couple this with the fact that Wilf Zaha has publicly stated his desire to leave even. And I mean, Palace are between a rock and a hard place. 2 of their star players who were responsible for probably an awful lot of output last season, want to go. They know they can get big money for them, but now they've got to find worthwhile replacements.
But you wouldn't sell both. Like, I think Palace don't need to shift both of them.
I think a club at this point is more likely to come in to the tune of 65 for Wan-Bissaka than they are for the 70 that Palace wanted for Wilf Zaha. Zaha, of course, having a massively inferior season to the one that came before, right? So, yeah, that's where I stand on that, at the very least. But Tottenham, PSG and Manchester City also interested in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. At this point, I'd just pay 60. I said it about Chilwell at City. Just pay 40 and have him as your left-back, starting wing-back for the next 10 years. Because every player acquired for kind of less than 50 over the last 2 or 3 seasons is starting to look like solid investment.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I'd probably pay the 65, but I think that's probably right at the top end of what Wan-Bissaka's value is. Like, he has had a fantastic breakout campaign, but let's be realistic. It's only been 1 season. He is 21 years old.
His
still
numbers
very
have been
young.
that good, though, haven't they?
They have been. They've been exceptional. Like some of the best in Europe. And I will come on to his numbers in just a second. But 65 million for a fullback would make him the most expensive fullback of all time by quite some
for
distance
another year
as well. So I would probably pay it. I agree with you. But if the move for Wan-Bissaka does fail, Manchester United are apparently turning their attention to Thomas Meunier at PSG. PSG reportedly want around 20 to 25 million euros for the fullback.
I think that represents decent value.
Again, not a terrible sort of backup. I think it is a significant drop-off from Wan-Bissaka, though, for a number of different reasons. I think his age, 27 years old, which is by far, like, it's not past his peak or anything like that. I know Pato hates signing anyone that's over the age of 26, but still think he's got a lot to offer. Wan-Bissaka is only 21, so there's a lot of time to grow as well. And interestingly enough, if you go back to our podcast at the very start of the season, these are the 2 names that we actually did when we were talking about how to fix Manchester United. Pato pitched AWB, you pitched Thomas Meunier.
Yeah. Purely based on price. I think 25 million for him. If you are priced out of a move for Wan-Bissaka, I think he keeps you ticking over nicely for a couple of seasons until Diogo Dalot, either steps up or
moves on.
Dissipates,
Yeah, exactly. And, Thomas Meunier, he was a boyhood Manchester United fan. He's already stated it would be his dream to join a club like Manchester United. So you can pretty much guarantee he would come to the club if you were to put the right bid in. If you look at some of their stats, now obviously Wan-Bissaka has been a freak this season. 2,400 minutes, 5.5 tackles and interceptions per 90. Over 1.5 dribbles per 90, nearly a chance created per match as well, which is just mind-blowing numbers. Because then if you drop down to sort of where Ashley Young is, the current starting Manchester United right back, who put up 2,500 minutes. Thomas Meunier, you're looking at around 3 tackles and interceptions, so nearly half, a big drop-off. Less than 0.5 dribbles per 90 as well, and all of them under 1 key pass. So a big drop-off statistically from Wan-Bissaka to Thomas Meunier, but also you can see that in the price tag. Wan-Bissaka commanding 40 to 50 million euros more than Thomas Meunier at this stage. So I personally would bid the money for Wan-Bissaka. We've got it in the bank. So why not go and spend it? Because Man United aren't scrambling around for cash. And if we're identifying young British targets, which is apparently Solskjaer's whole philosophy for this summer, he brought in Daniel James. Now they're looking to bring in a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You should go and commit to that. Let's either commit to signing the youngsters that can grow, or let's stick with the old Man United style of signing kind of mediocre players that are in their late 20s.
Well, if you think that Kyle Walker kind of represented decent value at 40, 2 years ago?
I think 50 he was actually,
Yeah, between 40 and 50. So he was probably 24, 25 a couple of years ago, right? Then it's not moved on too much, has it? 60, if you can get Aaron Wan-Bissaka for 60, I think that's probably about right at the moment.
If you think Benjamin Mendy cost 50, they signed him when he was, 22, 23? He's had significant knee injuries. 10 million more for player 1 year less with more proven expertise in the Premier League. I think you probably just pay it if you're Man United.
Yeah. Would you pay it though? Let us know in the poll just above. Let's move on to our final losers. Jordan Crump then is finishing the show. He's closing it out on Atletico Madrid. Like we said at the start of the show, a massive overhaul needed, and not necessarily the best start to proceedings this summer.
Well, they've just lost loads of players through both contractual situations and buyout clauses, seemingly. Anyway, obviously, they've lost the likes of Luca Hernandez, haven't they, to Bayern Munich for respectable 80 million euros, but buyout clause again. Godin's gone out of contract, Juan Fran's gone out of contract, Felipe Luis has gone out of contract. Seems like at least two of those three are going to be joining Inter Milan this summer, as Hamill says, the West Ham of Italy. And now you've got more rumours. Antoine Griezmann, buyout clause, we've already talked about him. Rodri, his buyout clause seems to be triggered by Manchester City over the coming weeks. And Partey as well, whose buyout clause is worryingly low at £43 million, linked with a fair few of Europe's elite as well. So it could be a summer of serious upheaval for Simeone, given that I think he won't have been happy with last season either, despite a second place finish and the best defence in the league. His attack is just dog shit. And over the last few years, they've been able to turn over strikers, haven't they? They've had some of the best striking talent in Europe. You think Forlan, you think Aguero, you think Radamel Falcao, then Griezmann. Now there's a serious uphill battle because yes, they've got Diego Costa. They've got potentially Alvaro Morata coming through the door as well if they choose to take up that option. Again, leaving a lot to be desired. He needs to improve significantly over the next few seasons. And some of the signings they're bringing in, or have brought in over the last year and a half, haven't really worked either. You know, Philippe comes in from Porto, doesn't he? A very experienced centre-back. Porto losing both of their centre-backs, with Militao going to the other Madrid club as well. They spent upwards of 60 million on Lemar. Didn't really work out. Gelson Martins went on loan to Monaco, doesn't really want to come back. Kalinic, pretty poor. Vitolo, just a bit okay. I think they need to sign a seriously strong centre-back. The sales of the likes of Johnny Otto over the last few years have seemingly left a lot to be desired. Vashalko went to Inter Milan, yet another injury to add to his repertoire. 15 injuries in the last 4 years, 3 of them major knee injuries. Wasn't even included in Inter Milan's squad list after Christmas. Obviously, they brought in Cedric Suarez on loan to replace him from Southampton. So I don't really know what Vashalko is going to do. Either way, you kind of get that picture that it's all a bit of a shambles at Atletico Madrid right now. Simeone has a huge job on his hands this summer, with the board trusting him to the hilt. If only he could be our Alex Ferguson of Atletico, we would be delighted, said club president Enrico Cerezo. Well, I have to say, Enrico, United never lost 6 major players in one summer. Like that, this here right now is turbulent.
Yeah, and they've always been pretty good at turning over players, like you said, but it's kind of always been 1 or 2 additions to what has been, you know, during Simeone's tenure at the very least, a very solid core of players to rely on. I think the fact they got so much out of these players is a huge positive as well. You know, they've all served their time, haven't they? Simeone has got every last drop, every last modicum of performance out of these old dogs, but not a lot of young blood stepping into the fray as that. So it looks like they're going to make Morata permanent for 55 million euros, slightly underperforming his XG of 0.6 per 90, so promise there. Basically got a few goals, could have had a few more. And a top source for AC Milan says that Atleti are ready to pay Suso's release clause of 40 million euros. And for the first 6 months of the season, his numbers were absolutely dynamite. But it does seem a little bit odd, given that they have Angel Correa, who is a year younger than the Milan winger. And when he's given the minutes, tends to produce. I'm not sure if that was the case over the second half of the season because of course, Griezmann was largely shouldering the team in terms of contributions to goals. But Angel Correa has been a very useful player throughout Simeone's period there, hasn't it? A couple of names to replace the long-time servant Juan Fran at right back have started to service as Santiago Arias, not really seen as the long-term solution. Nelson Semedo being the most exciting of them. Now he has a release clause of 100 million euros. I'm not sure if Atleti are going to trigger that. That would be a madness, but he could become a pawn in the Griezmann game, even though we've just said Griezmann's going to PSG. That is just one scenario, isn't it? The other link, a little bit more conservative, maybe a little bit more realistic. El Said Haisaj from Napoli. Kiss Kiss, which is Napoli's radio station, said they had a formal approach turned down for the Albanian. Haisaj is actually the same age as Semedo, and this season has trumped the Portuguese in every category, from tackles and interceptions to key passes. So he's had a pretty useful season. Kind of, it was deputising for Gulam, wasn't he, while Gulam was injured, and I'm not sure if he's remained in the side. Simeone's got money to spend, which is the silver lining for Atleti fans. It's whether they can identify the right targets at the right price, because it's not just go out and replace 1-2 marquee players, is it? We now need 2 or 3, 4 players who can be the bedrock of the side for the next 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I'm backing him to pull something out of the bag, but have they really taken advantage of a poor Barcelona, of a poor Real Madrid? No, and I think they'll probably be ruining this in 2 or 3 seasons to come. If they got their stuff together, keep this nice and PG, then they could have really been challenging going into next season, couldn't they? But it's not been the case. Let's finish there, because it's quite puzzling. Maybe one for a podcast, a bigger issue to take on, isn't it? A lot of moving parts there, a lot to think about. What else is on Football Daily? Yeah,
why not download the podcast? We mentioned it earlier if you haven't already. We basically talked about which players your club needs to sign this coming summer, and Atletico were mentioned in there. So if you want to know a little bit more about them, go download that. It's in all of the usual podcast places.
It is. Spotify, iTunes, other places. What's Deezer? Anyway, bye.